Welcome back to the NAL with our third best of one of today. OXG against Shopify Rebellion. A team on the up is OXG, whereas Shopify has just suffered their first loss in the best of ones, breaking that historical streak. Is that going to play on their minds today, or are they going to be done and dusted and jump into this one as a new one? We'll see as we're going to be heading onto the server. But first things, Fox Day, match at hand.
It'll be a great game regardless, because SR, I think one loss isn't going to affect them too much. As for OXG, why'd you have to do that? You made me laugh. As for OXG, I mean, they're looking really good. For me, this game will be the battle of the entries. Obviously, Gomez and Adam have been overperforming. They've been amazing. SR, everyone knows what you're getting when you look at Ambi and Spoit. So for me, it'll be that head-to-head that we're going to have to watch in this matchup.
Yeah, the roster lineup from the side of OXG Lax is one that has genuinely been improving night and day difference from what we've seen last stage onto this one.
Hey, we talked about the Stonks with Yaga, but let's talk about the Stonks with Oxygen. They have been absolutely performing each and every single game, especially in that previous match versus DZ. They were in very well control on their defensive end, but I was more really impressed with the attacks, because that's always where I've talked about Oxygen has struggled time and time again. And I really have to commiserate Forest for being able to rally the troops, get a more plan set and understood for when they go onto these attacking halves. And really, Oxygen has been looking like a far brand new shape in terms of their attacking halves and having far more depth, to say the least.
Yeah, and it's also like the identity that we kind of touched up on yesterday too when it comes to OXG, where it feels like they've finally able to found it and they've really been able to lock in that regards. But when we're having a look at their statistics as well, when it comes to last stage onto this one, again, it's just, as you said, the Stonks, they're on the up and up.
Yeah, it's also the man advantage, getting those opening kills. I mean, we talked about with Forrest, not leading the charge anymore necessarily on those shields, letting Adam and Gomez be able to enter that building, get those opening kills, go back to that mid to late round, and then execute from there. And I really think it actually is paying dividends in terms of what their performance looks like. Because again, Forrest, where he struggled the most was on those shields, not being able to make the right decision, not being able to make the right play. He's taken a step back, going back to the more solid approach of a regular standard support player, just being in the back lines, being able to facilitate around, while the others around him can make the round go in their favor. And then, like I said, it then falls back on him to then go for that execute. And that's what we're seeing time and time again, especially from the players of Adam and Gomez, being able to be that light for them, be able to be that spearhead to get them into the building and then to do that setup. So for me, coming into this matchup, it's just about keeping that consistency, making sure that we're seeing it each and every single game and not having to rely on shields, not having to rely just on one strat, which typically has been a rush. We're seeing far more depth in them being able to move around, bring different operators, whether that's a Ying, whether that's using the Capitals or the Grim Bees to take position from said team. So for me, again, Oxygen, I mean, there's not much to say outside of progress is key for this roster.
Yeah, it's that consistency that we've seen from them, but it's also the fact that they have the momentum going in their favor, Foxhay, because the opposite side is true for Shopify. They lose that win streak yesterday against M80, and although this is a roster that we always praise about how it is absolutely star-studded when it comes to firepower, yesterday that wasn't enough.
I mean, it wasn't enough. I mean, I think they were just so close to that finish line. They were salivating that once they started to lose rounds, it wasn't the end of the world for them, because obviously best of ones is something that they've been through so many. They were on a 14-0 win streak when it came to best of ones. So that was obviously the biggest thing that set them aside. They were up 6-1. That lead created a false sense of security where they felt like, it's just another best of one, are going to be able to beat it. And I think that lead, once it started to slowly slip away, created a lot of issues, and it looked like Shopify Rebellion was so rattled that they couldn't just cross that finish line.
Yeah, that's also a bit of a peculiar situation to be in, because we're heading into game day number 2 here during week 3, and they're just coming fresh off of that loss, which is like the opposite again of OXG, who has a lot of the fire under them right now.
Yeah, I mean, Shopify just looked to be rattled, like I said, and obviously they overlooked a lot of little issues. They just started skipping steps that we wouldn't normally see. I mean, Canadian lost a 1v1 to a defender outside of the building. They lost a 2v1 to Kino, where Rexon dropped down the hatch in a mistimed 1v1. Here's the 1v1 with Canadian. How are you losing that in the first place? They lost a 2v1 because they didn't communicate on the hatch drop. And then that final round, everybody knows when you're playing storage that somebody could possibly be in the basement. And Shopify Rebellion had no drones downstairs, no information on Kino's whereabouts, and he was able to not only C4 to the diffuser, but then shotgun the other player through the floor. And easily, those 3 rounds could have closed it out. But it just looked like Shopify Rebellion was so focused on the win that they were overlooking little small mistakes.
Yeah, and but the thing is, however, like this is Shopify at the end of the day that we're talking about. They'll just be able to hopefully dust it off and be like, okay, first loss in a best of one. It is what it is. Life happens. Let's move on to the next one. And with that, moving into the map veto as well, we're going to be heading over to Labs.
Ooh, Oxygen is definitely trying to exploit where everything went wrong with Shopify, which really was their attack. And I like the point that you talked about. You know, they do overcomplicate some situations. That's probably SR's biggest problem and fundamental error as a team, even throughout that stage one, is yes, they are a dominant squad. Yes, they look very good, but it's those small things that are so meticulous that do ruin rounds or allow a team to be able to come back. And especially in that last game, we saw that time and time again. But I'm not sure if Oxygen, them bringing them to Nighthaven Labs is necessarily a bright idea, because even given the history on their Nighthaven Labs, they played it versus M80 to start playoffs last stage. They would lose it 6-8 to M80. So for me, I don't know if this is maybe, you know, a bit of too much overconfidence here to be able to look at that game up and be like, oh yeah, we're going to beat Shopify. Their attacks are horrible. I have no doubt in my mind that Shopify isn't going to allow the exact same mistakes to bleed through into this matchup, especially knowing how dire it is to be getting these points.
He's got the sleeve out. They're winning.
I don't know why Oxygen just doesn't make him his own shirt at this point.
Yeah.
Honestly, they would look good on him. I mean, he's got
low-key
the
pulling a
arm.
fox egg. He's also got his arms out because he's want to show off his new tattoo.
Yeah, we both got a new tattoo, so it just makes sense.
That is true.
Hopefully that'll be able to give them that extra push going into Labs. I mean, one thing I agree with you, Shopify, you're never going to see the same look at them twice on a map, and it's only going to make them that much scarier. They're not a team that struggles with mental issues as the days progress. So obviously, if they can just play consistent, honestly, play their game, they just have to worry about OXG's entry game, because that has been OXG's win condition recently, is finding those opening kills, getting into the map. If they can shut that down, then we'll see, you know, a clean Shopify Rebellion map.
So when it comes to predictions, now that we've actually seen the map that we're going to be going to, it is going to be Labs. Are we still sticking with our SR prediction?
Yeah, I gotta say, what were you gonna say?
Any other map, I think I would have swapped to OXG, but for Labs, I'm gonna keep it Shopify.
Yeah, I think it's a overconfidence here with picking Labs, just trying to pick apart what Shopify did wrong, where Shopify knows exactly what they did wrong, and they're gonna correct it on their attacking half, where we saw their defensive half was practically flawless.
Yeah, I mean, Shopify Rebellion, them losing yesterday, so many rounds so close, especially the rounds to Kino that they lost. I feel like it's only going to light a fire for all of the players to lock in even more and play that much more disciplined. And obviously, after a 14-0 best-of-1 series, of course, it's going to slip at some point. You're going to lose. So that was yesterday. I don't expect the exact same outcome for Shopify after a loss like that.
So when it comes to OXG, then, considering that they were comfortable enough picking this map, to me, it means that maybe they have seen something that they don't think SR could potentially correct in such a short period of time.
I mean, I'm sure they did their preparation on yesterday's match. There was a lot of footage and went the distance to 16 rounds for them to be able to counter-strat essentially what Shopify brought, but that's the thing. You can't really do that to Shopify. So OXG's definitely going to try their best, but Shopify is a very adaptive, heavy team. So
you're right. We'll see whether or not that adaptation is going to be coming through today, or if the prep for OXG is enough to carry them on to another victory now that they have that momentum on their side, as we're going to be heading over to Labs with our casters, Ollie and Lynx.
Well, it's always an exciting matchup when Shopify are involved, but thankfully for us, Ollie, OXG are really on the upswing towards the end of Stage 1 and now in Stage 2, going the distance in every single game they've played, including, by the way, against Cruelty pretty early on. But since then, they beat SSG, they beat Wildcard, they obviously beat DZ yesterday. With Shopify falling to M80, maybe they can get another head to claim.
It's not beyond the realms of possibility, is it? I think that Shopify, there were some really big holes in the siege that they wanted to play yesterday. And I mean, as the desk have already spoken about, there's clearly something that OXG have seen in that VOD. Despite the fact that SR were able to get 5 out of the 6 rounds on the defense side, there's still something that OXG have seen that have gone, yep, we are more than happy to throw down here onto Labs. Great map, and I can't wait to get stuck into it. Could it be the night of upsets?
I'd personally be down for it. I'd be a big fan. Standby winning against Wildcard next. Calling it right now.
If only Envy could have done it against DZ, it would have been a true upsetting evening.
Hey, there was an Envy game in there. I'm not saying like a win necessarily, but could have been a bit closer. 100%. But I am curious on whether the desk's prediction will ring true that maybe this is a little OXG overconfidence, thinking that Shopify's game is weaker than it might otherwise have been. Very defender-sided game that last night, by the way. It was an 8-7 affair, but both teams winning about 6 to 7 rounds on the defensive piece between Shopify and M80, so we'll see if that trend bears out tonight here. Interesting thing to note, a lot of teams have started banning the shields away from Forest. Shopify will not do so, anticipating either A, that Forest will play the shields, they know how to counter it, or B, that they won't, it'll just be a normal game of Siege. But Forest still having the SSG blood running a bit thick in his veins. I think we can all agree sometimes you just can't really play a game trying to predict what Forest will do.
No, there's easier things to do, isn't there, than to try and imagine and predict how certain players, particularly Forest, are going to operate. Double hard breach ban for Shopify. I tell you what, after the game yesterday that SR gave us in their opening phase on the defense, which is where they find themselves starting here tonight, I am very surprised to not see OXG target ban that clash. Because, yep, you take away a Cade, yep, you take away a Mirror, but the clash was the biggest thorn in the side of the opening few rounds for M80 yesterday. Now, of course, we've got the halfway point bans coming up later on in this phase, but I just really think that that's worth getting rid of. That and maybe the Azami. You know that Spoit's going to want to play Azami on this map in general, and particularly this top floor site. So I'd like to see, having OXG not banned those two things, some really clear ideas and ways of dealing with those two operators, because they're not easy to deal with. Now, we've got the Flores, which is, of course, going to do something for the Keeper barricades. And we've got the Capital, which is going to assist with the clash. But it doesn't stop it from being just so oppressive.
Also only got assault rifles right now for Oxygen. No DMRs to potentially provide an easier way of destroying the Kiba barrier. So Flores really with a lot of job to do. There's barbed wire he might have. There's 2 sets of barbed wire he's got to worry about. There's actually 3 sets of barbed wire to worry about. A bulletproof, castle barricades, the Banshees, and then also the Kibas. Very light on explosive utility, unfortunately, are OXG. And while they might find an easy way to cut through the breach with that Maverick Torch, it too is a particularly time-consuming way to open up reinforcements. That's the worry I think Ollie and I both seeing right now for OXG, that they could spend a lot of time and yet still fall short of clearing all this specific kind of utility that Shopify are throwing their way. B spotting 3 different defenders on Shopify, and despite that low utility, not a single Kiba destroyed, by the way. A 3-man pinch from OXG not only finds Spoit, it finds the Clash too. Their solution for those 2 oppressive operators, shoot 2 in the back of the head, and let's take the smoke down for good measure.
Ambi and Rexon, a lot of work to do right now. Ambi, maybe 30 HP, lost control of Garage. Doesn't really want to try and retake it. It's too risky, it's too dangerous. OXG kind of just need to run through the motions. You can see Grixer jumping into his drone. Ambi trying his best to make something happen, but he's going to pay the price along with Rexon as Atom picks up 2 from the doorway into Catwalk. And OXG prove that they do indeed have a plan for how they want to deal with some of those more oppressive operators that have been let through this ban phase.
Their plan, it's a complicated one. Shoot them. Anyway, moving on. Now, will it be that simple every time? I don't know, because as you can see... Now, well, actually, I will say this. A lot of effort went into distracting Spoit there. You can see OXG pushing up to this single door so frequently, and with Spoit playing on that staircase, doesn't really have a lot of options but to pay attention to it. And so, obviously, there's a Kiba barrier blocking it down below, but the 2 positions he has to worry about are kind of the connector door at the bottom of the stairs, then the window at the top. So even though I might just say it was shooting Spoit in the face, there was a lot of effort that went into setting up Gomez well on just that kill, and the clash after is kind of icing on the cake. So some good thought put in by OXG as we move to the next site.
10 seconds to insertion.
We will, in fact, it appears, Have a shield brought out by Forest. Blackbeard being confirmed as the attacker repick ends. And Yaga, I imagine, no, not actually with the shotgun. Yaga running the L85. An old man pick now at this point.
I'm quite skeptical of no hard breach when attacking this basement site. We've seen recently it's sort of now become fashionable and popular to go for a bit of a vending or exo stairs walk down. And personally, I'm not convinced by it. I think it can be very difficult to pull off. Usually you're going to do it with a shield, and in this case it's going to be the Blackbeard, but it's not even it is reinforced.
What the hell?
Yep, that's reinforced. Nope, that isn't reinforced. Okay.
Well, I will say I think I feel a little bit bad for OXG there. Not entirely sure what happened, but facing a lot of hiccups on that break through the freezer wall. And this round done just about as quickly as it began. Adam will get 3, well, 1 plus 2 from the previous one, making it 3. But I doubt he will get much more than that. That is really unfortunate for OXG. I don't know if that was a glitch or the hammer messing up, but that heavily telegraphed the push. I mean, to be fair, actually, Shopify already had a guy looking down below with a hole made on that rush, so it seemed like Shopify were anticipating anyway, but that hammer kind of getting caught on, I don't know, air didn't exactly help matters.
I feel really bad for Yaga. I'm not saying that it would have worked perfectly if it had just burst open straight away.
But it would have been better.
But it would have been a lot better. They would have had half a chance.
Poor guy. Hey, maybe Shopify give Adam 3 1v1s.
No. Unfortunately, Atom is not that lucky. I'm not a fan of that XO rush. Now, okay, I'm going to rephrase that. I'm not a fan of the XO take, but I don't mind the XO rush. When you get the XO take and it's like shield versus shield and they're both just stood there in front of one another, that can be very sort of... It's not great. Wrexham with a great heads-up play, though, to explode that pipe. It was such a bottleneck as well. I can only think that Yaga was just trying to hit right in the corner so that they could just sneak straight through and it wasn't going to create too much of a line, and he's just hit the concrete a couple of times.
I'm not entirely sure. I mean, your hypothesis is plausible and I buy it, but it's unfortunate whatever went down. OXG still at least have a good round 1 to look back on and can now look to trying to take the tertiary site.
10 seconds to insert.
Seen Shopify run this setup a few times on Nighthaven over just the course of their play, and it ran it against M80 yesterday, have run it last stage. I think literally you and I casted a Cloud9 game last stage where C and I were actually giving Shopify a run for their money, and then Spoit on Scopus upstairs got a 3K and just decided to end the game. And Spoit having a decent, 14 and 12 day, but overall just a bit hot and cold for everybody across Shopify. Certainly, well, all right, never mind. I'll just index that point for a later time.
Just file that away under round 6. I would recommend personally.
That's a clear round 6 point.
OXG with the open pick.
Not a good night
bad position to be in, really.
Not a bad position to be in. Not a good night for players who peek it through windows, I have to say.
Is it ever a good night for players peeking through windows?
Yeah, but I've seen better nights than this. It's like every game it's been shut down.
Looks like there's a bit of info for Atom here. Very cautious and wants to make sure he gets maximum use out of that utility. He's worried about the default camera coming on. He does know that Canadian is going to be at the top of these stairs, but there's no one really there for a catch if he is able to do anything with it. Can at least force him down the stairs, maybe into the waiting arms of a teammate.
You know what I wonder? I wonder if he maybe had thrown the second one first. Maybe thrown it on halfway down the staircase, then thrown the one up top.
Thrown the second one first. Very easy to do.
Okay. Shut up, man.
No, I agree. Cut off the escape and then pen him in at the top.
Either way, still a 4v3 for OXG with a minute to go and full control of the vertical. Not really a whole lot to complain about for OXG at the moment. The Clash staying alive is always going to be an issue. It's going to give somebody that's pressuring you directly, can always put the shield down, plant, and start fighting. But Canadian's now at 1 HP. Even if the Clash really starts to get annoying, there's a chance that Canadian could just die before he has any impact. Wow, what a shot by Adam. Hits Ambi down range, 2 line up for Surf. It's a shield and a gun, all against the 9x19. With no Kiba barriers to aid the rotate. Surf has got to take these 1v1s raw. Nice crosshair placement onto Grixer, but Forrest looks to continue that plant just around the corner. Got to fall off in time. Downs him! 2 aces for the day. Also, by current and former Shopify members, it's a good day to be Citizen and Surf, and a good day to be on Shopify.
Big play from Surf. Not a round that you really ought to be losing as OXG there. And a player that you can't afford to give the space to. We don't have to cast our minds back far in this stage to remember good games that Surf has had. Brilliant to keep his team in it there. I feel like that coming in at a very important time, really, in the proceedings. Picking up the win on that tertiary bomb site kind of cements things a little bit for Shopify here in this first phase. A very cruel ban in the Maverick and the Azami, but ooh, I mean, Grix has hit a great shot there to open it up. OXG not really taking advantage of the space that they had, though. Still had 3 drones at that point in the round as well. It was quite a big individual day from Shopify yesterday, and they fell short against M80. That's by far and away the biggest individual performance we've seen from them here tonight. Fairly obvious given that it was 5 kills for 1 player. But it's not felt as individual up until this point. It's felt much more team orientated, much more team focused. So a good sign for SR.
10 seconds left before insertion.
On
5 seconds
Surf
left
might be
before
6 and 2,
insertion.
but we just saw 5 of them.
Attackers are
So
moving to
not
defuse the bomb.
as individual as the stats might otherwise say. Still plenty of time for a team, more of a team game to develop. I was curious what was going on in the breaches. We saw both Canadian and Spoit sitting next to each other on part of the soft wall. But 2-Brow Bandit going to be a tricky combo to deal with, especially if Spoit decides to actively Bandit trick. You can see some of the holes being made in the floor, likely to challenge Forrest on this angle would be my guess. It's going to be definitely a dance on that side. Impact sent out, bullets sent back. Be a big fight to open up the IT wall. Sometimes the defense just kind of lets the attack do it. Sometimes the attack lets the defense do it. And actually, it appears here, Forrest might just be giving up the play.
Maybe something to rotate back to a little bit later on.
You can always do it later.
Spoit and Canadian aren't both going to be able to actively watch that angle forever, and Spoit just replaces the battery and goes, yeah, we've done a minute. We'll see what we can get away with. OXG are going to need a little bit of pressure elsewhere to force some eyes. And it looks like 2 people are at least going to get pointing their gun barrels through in toward the top of rafters right now.
This could be a rough play. But Yaga is able to find Canadian. It's another hop-in bathroom. Gomez, another double in this exact position. They both line up for Rexen, and I think OXG, recognizing the advantage, will pull back just for a brief moment. Will allow them to place a hard breach charge, open up the IT wall. And with 1:20 seconds to reset, there's a lot OXG can do with this.
OXG have put themselves in a really good position. They're going to get a bit of info now as well. Grixer and Forrest both with drones. Still able to flick some, and at least Surf knows that there's going to be a drone there inside of IT. I think it's just been taken out by Rexen. That should be all the info really that OXG need right now. Both of these 2 players have just got too many different angles to watch. Atom can move through, recover the diffuser. Forrest is still droning up and through. There's only 1 Toxic Babe in Surf's back pocket. There's a lot of different options right now. You could even go for an aqua rotate if you like. Oh, a glimpse there for Grixer. Is it going to be enough? He's going to send some bees in.
He's still got one more to use. Flashbang blind surf on the close angle. Big play from Forrest. Ooh, triggering the air jab on the drone hole. OXG clearly had these second floor attacks figured out. It's the only time they found success, but boy, they looked good doing it every time.
I think OXG have looked good in multiple different rounds here tonight. Especially, I mean, think back to the kitchen round. The only round that you'd throw a question mark on is the basement round, which I imagine we're going to get to see up next. And I doubt that we're going to see the same sort of rush attempted. I can't believe the gap that Gomez is finding, by the way, at the top of those garage stairs. That's the second time that he's just been able to hop in and do whatever he wants. Pick up 2 kills, really open up the round for his team. It's a huge oversight from Shopify. Not just to let it happen once, but to let it happen twice. Obviously, I doubt, well, unless we go into an overtime, we're not going to be going back there to find out if he'll have the balls to do it again. But it's clearly some good VOD review from the games yesterday.
I certainly won't be complaining. Giving Shopify another run for their money is probably, if you're a Shopify fan, not super cool, but somebody who enjoys Rainbow Six and the good teams giving us good matches. I'm very ecstatic about Oxygen's homework. Big shock after a couple whiffs on the sledgehammer ollie. Yager will not be running back the sledge, which, to be fair, I think if we tried it again, it might be a bit more successful, but I don't blame them. This is our past week, by the way. This is our second time with somebody picking Jackal. Don't really know. I don't really know. We didn't really see it a lot in that SAL game we cast. I don't remember which one it was, but it's one of those like, I see the idea, like help with the roam clear, especially if like you got people running around, but I mean, what, you're not bringing Grim or Ying or Capitao? 5 is nice at least, but oh, okay. Just all right. We do a hard cut to garage, and that's where the entire round seems to be transpiring. Adam swings in for 2. Rex down as well. Okay, is the round just going to end off this roam clear? Yaga, the round might be one off the roam clear, and Yaga's not even seen a foot, let alone scanned one. What? All right. Yaga kills somebody before he even uses his primary utility, and it's a Surf 1v4 within a minute 20 seconds. It's a Surf 1v nothing, and OXG retaking their lead.
That was quite a strange round. There was a big commitment there from SR to that roam game. And I think that was read into beautifully by OXG. I mean, the Jackal pick, yeah, strange one, but if the round's going to fall down like that, it doesn't really matter what ops you're choosing. I mean, it's a very roam-centered lineup. You've got the Deimos, you've got the Dokkaebi, and you've got that Jackal. And I think it was all just about trying to bait an overreaction from SR, which was done beautifully. Yes, Spoit gets 1 onto Grixer, but immediately traded back. As there's no need to sort of hold on that firmly on that top floor. And despite the fact that SR were all in the same sort of vicinity, to not see anything come down as a trade, also a little bit weird.
Forrest starting to flex the shield might means we're in for another weird round. Blitz and the Jackal would have been a little too weird for my blood, so I'm kind of glad that Yaga will go to the ram and keep things a bit more normal. Another full clear, likely on the cards as Shopify elect to... Oh, damn it, I can't use the Scopos point. They want a different site.
Mine ready.
Have to file it away for next time we see SR on this map.
Which, I mean, knowing SR actually is not a... I wouldn't bet against not seeing them on Nighthaven again for a while. It's a map that I think fits with their skill set pretty well. But yeah, I will. That's a shame. Spoit on Fenrir, much less interesting op to talk about. Spoit also just, 2-4 so far, not exactly having a performance to write home about.
I mean, apart from the ace from Surf, no one is really.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of like we flips the talking point on our head. It's like, yeah, it's a bit of a team game so far. The surface, the one individual performance, but we see more good team rounds. Could be a really solid game from Shopify, and right now, it's actually OXG winning some crazy fights. I mean, how many times have we seen an attacker just walk in a garage or hop through a window and win a 1v1? Sure, it's traded right there. Now with Forrest going down, things are a little tricky. That's a big trade by Ambi. And Grixer not finding the 1v2. This has been a bit of a strange game, all things considered. Very gunfight heavy. And with OXG taking another roll at the dice, it seems their luck's run out come round 6. As with a minute and a half to go, Gomez finds a bulletproof, but I imagine these 3 defenders are going to remain quite elusive.
Yeah, not much reason for SR to give this away. This is to guarantee them that 3-3 split. I don't know, it feels as though OXG have maybe already met their condition in that they're happy with the way that they've attacked. And based off Shopify's attacks yesterday, not too worried about Shopify's attacks themselves. But it still stands to reason a strange round to just sort of throw it all in on this top floor clear again. But credit to SR, they haven't as fully committed this time. And they've been able to drop back with quite a healthy advantage. That goo mine going to be a big early warning system right now for these SR players. That and the fact that there are plenty of default cameras up, but a good old cap can. Feels good for Ambi. That's his 2nd kill of the game, by the way.
No, that's his 3rd kill of the game.
Oh, my mistake. He got 1 in that round.
Let's be fair here.
I'm nothing if not fair.
1 and 5, by the way, still rocking a 60% cost. Well, going into that round, I mean.
Just rocking a 0.5 KPR.
It's not the KPR that matters. 3-3 half. 5 opening picks for OXG, and I think obviously that being a very just touch and go half generally, either you win completely or you lose drastically. Kind of makes sense. OXG have been great on the gunfights. And if they can keep that on the defense while also pairing it with some good time wasting, it'll be a really, really fun game to watch, whether they lose or win. Banning both the shields to start. Canadian, quite a good shield player, not necessarily in the Forest way, more in the facilitating a plant way. And then Shopify, excuse me. Banning both the hard breach to now makes sense. I have to imagine the rounds will at least go a little bit differently to start. I don't think Canadian's going to let the team just hop in windows and take gunfights like OXG did. Not that they don't have the players to do it. I just don't think that's how Shopify really want to play the game.
No, it's most likely going to be a little bit more structured, isn't it? SR did really well yesterday on their opening attack after the side swap. It was an attack onto this very site, and they walked away with that round. It was the only round they were good for on the attack. And on subsequent attempts on that very same site, they were unable to get the job done.
Attacker's objective is to
Line
locate
up.
a bomb and defuse it.
Carbon copy of what we see in front of us right now. Interestingly, Spoit is on the AK on the Deimos though, and I believe yesterday he was on the shotgun to enable some of that Vert play. Vert obviously playing such a huge part on Nighthaven Labs, and particularly when you're looking to try and attack onto this top floor, and the Deimos being a fantastic tool to get that done with. No time being wasted opening up connector wall though. Spoit already a couple of targets to track and can already start to send some pop shots through with that Vendetta. Gets a glimpse and finished off through the wall. Grixer, great tracking there as he's able to predict the movement of Spoit and get that opening pick.
Kind of opening OXG could only dream of. Wallbang the Deimos, fall back to site. You do have Forrest alone on this roam, I think, and with the M10, I just don't think if a gunfight even looks Forrest's way that he's got a chance at winning it with this setup and with nobody around. But if he's not spotted, could be a big problem if he rotates up and can activate that C4 from below. It'll be the only C4 now that Adam lets his go a little early to no avail. Banshee will indicate that Rexon at least hopped in briefly, and that if they wanted to, Shopify could hop in that window again without that sound cue from the Melusi utility. But in the mid-game, Shopify just probing for an angle around the pillar. Nade will push Yaga up, put him to 1 HP. Canadian looking to hop in off the back of this, perhaps? As the firebolt goes out? No. Just trying to take some more positioning and keep OXG off balance.
Trying to bait a little bit of a reaction right now. Forest still below, and no one's got a single clue about him. I don't think that SR have done a head count. I'm not sure that they know there is a player offsite, although those shots would suggest that they know something's up now. As it was surely only a matter of time with Ambi on the IQ before they were able to discover that Forest was down there. And I think had Forest noticed that, he would have either rotated back to site or been a little bit more careful with the amount of time he was spending in the scanner. That levels things up going into the final 40 now, as this is where the push comes from.
Rexon trying to challenge onto this Azami, triggering another Banshee, though, as OXG storm into the final 30 seconds. This IT-sided push, now the only leg remaining, so heavily telegraphed that OXG have no choice but to clean it up. Good shot for Ambi. OXG retaking the lead, though. Still a close game, only one round ahead, but starting things off on the right foot.
Definitely comes down to preparation for OXG, and I think there's a little bit of a demon on the shoulder for the players of SR. That attacking round, they didn't really try to reinvent the wheel. There was nothing that they were doing drastically differently. Previously, when we've seen that attack, we've seen, at least yesterday, we saw Canadian playing on the Capitao, using that to get control of rafters, then rotate and get a little bit of presence going over toward that fish side of things. That all happening in conjunction with Spoit being very successful downstairs. If you've not got control of downstairs, it becomes very difficult to do. And SR only retook control of downstairs quite late into the round after Forest was found out and taken out on that pulse. So it wasn't as if they had that stable footing to really enable themselves. Sending somebody in to clear vert on their own as a solo, it's a necessary evil sometimes, but ideally you'd want to get a little bit more control before you do that, or at least have a bit more of an idea and some cutoffs in place. SR really just getting chipped away there, never really able to effectively utilize their utility onto that site. Looks like we're in a tech at the moment. One of the players talking. If we get an inkling as to what it is, I'm sure we will be able to let everybody know. Feels a little bit sad for OXG. It just takes a touch of the pace out, but I don't think it's going to last any longer than a tactical timeout would anyway, as it looks as though we are going to be getting back into the game fairly straight away. A big opening pick we were talking about there. And then, I mean, it's a tale as old as time, isn't it, Lynx? Challenging those shotguns on those super close angles, whether you're in electric or connector. Without utility, it never ends well for the attack.
No, it's just, it's the kind of weapon that the moment you have a position like that, it's a controlling factor that is so difficult to dislodge. Like you said, without utility, without even, honestly, a little luck sometimes, it's really problematic. I mean, that's what Spoit was supposed to do, right? That's what the Deimos has always been used for when attacking this site, is going below, pressuring those shotguns. Without it, you're left in the exact same situation that you often are when you're pushing, like over by green stairs on layer, or pushing that single door outside of our 6 room. Or when you're playing, what's what I'm thinking of? Not blue stairs on Chalet, that's more of a long angle. Actually, I don't really think there's got to be a good shotgun position on Chalet, actually. Why can't I think of one? Not really.
Ivy maybe isn't too bad. You've got Stock, that can be good.
Oh, I don't know. Stock, you still see a Rudy playing there a lot of the time. It's not like an immediate one that jumps out like there is on this map. Because like this map, it's like, oh, like Aqua and Electrical Door. Like, especially Electrical Door, obviously. Layer, it's like, okay, we got top green. There's nothing on Skyscraper that really jumps out. Which, also, something I want to say well, first off, Deimos dies twice in a row. Thank God Spoit picked Bug. Now you at least have some option to pressure the vert, though it'll be top down, obviously. Something I did want to mention, M80 getting all 6 opening picks on the defense yesterday. A big reason why Shopify struggled to convert what was a very one-sided half. 5-1 on Shopify's defense, by the way, and M80 mashed it to push it to OT. And one undeniable factor is the defense constantly starting out with a 5v4. OXG have won every single opening engagement save for one, while their conversions have struggled. It's still a trend that is going to really haunt Shopify if they let it persevere. Adam is really committing to this angle, by the way, and gotta be careful if Shopify starts to pay attention to it.
Shopify could turn their attention to the site right now.
5v3 there. 4v3, excuse me.
Yeah, they've got quite a bit of information. I think if they get a good head count, they may be able to pivot. See the players on the side of OXG are just sort of fumbling around a little bit at the moment. Canadian gonna get stunned out. He's actually rocking the 612 there. Oh, now the game is afoot. Players dropping into Garage and Cargo. Not going to be so easy for Spoy just to take advantage of this vert. Certainly doesn't want to die on the back away.
Wow. Canadian getting a kill as Adam backs up, but this round seems like it might be cooked. A lot of flashes and still in store for Shopify, both secondary and primary for the Ying. With Canadian on the shotgun and OXG playing quite far away from the cargo stairs position, seems quite unlikely he'll find anything. Forrest getting a little antsy. Surfle dies result. Canadian downs him through the wall. Sees another on the floor. Easy pre-fire. And now as he storms into the site, there's another 1v1 rearing its head in Animus. But with two players storming his position, it seems Shopify might just find a way back. It's Yaga in the 1vx now. Canadian down on the floor, no guns in hand, spots the head around the corner, but Surf good for the trade. OXG letting Shopify back in a round that the game might just turn on.
Really close round there. Honestly thought that kill onto Canadian was going to be enough, but there was just enough time left. SR had given themselves a little bit more of a buffer, and it turns out that, well, OXG, they may have flown a little bit too close to the sun. That extension kind of came back to hurt them a little bit later on into the round because things were a little bit rushed. And SR were able to very quickly identify and split down those final two players into individual 1v1s. Tactical timeout off the back of the success that we've just seen there for SR. They were good for one round on the attack yesterday. They are going to need to do better than that here tonight, otherwise they will face a very similar result. That, of course, being a round that the opening pick was gained by OXG. Yaga has been involved in a lot of those opening engagements. And as you mentioned, Lynx, all but one so far going the way of OXG. We spoke about yesterday being quite an individual game of Siege for SR, and whilst there's been team performances here tonight, for me it's still Canadian Surf that are standing head and shoulders above the rest.
I mean, you have to agree with that. A little bit of an asterisk. The vast majority of Surf, well, not the vast majority actually, but the slim majority of Surf's kills coming in one round. 5 and ace in round 3. Ambi with a 3K in round 6. That's half of his. Still very hot and cold and streaky of a performance. Being Canadian even with a 3K in round 2.
10 seconds to insertion.
We are just all over the place at the moment. But Shopify still at least getting enough of those big multi-frags, and in that case, Surf's second 1vx of the game so far.
Specchio looking out.
They're keeping it competitive. Even if the performances are a bit difficult to convey properly. Solus and Pulse online for OXG as they give another go at basement. If you thought utility was the name of the game last time, you could not fit more intel gathering into this bad boy if you tried.
The Valkyrie, we've got deployable, we've got bulletproof cameras, excuse me. And this is the round where we don't have the IQ. All we're missing is an echo.
Actually,
I feel like we could squeeze the echo in.
That's true, actually. Technically speaking, you could fit an echo into this lineup.
And a Stro? We haven't seen any Maestro this stage so far.
That's true, actually. I mean, you even got intel from Forrest, technically speaking.
Reload.
Yeah.
Only one not bringing the intel is Adam. Hard troll. Don't know why he's bringing the Warden. That was sarcasm.
Surely more cameras is the option.
Surely more cameras when a Ying's on board is the option. That's the play.
Definitely a slower paced round from Shopify. And OXG, to be fair. Not challenging as heavy on the periphery and happy to try and tuck in. Atom's position here, if going undroned, he could be devastating right now. Not sure if he's even going to get found out on the vert either.
Oh, no, they got... Oh, he just sees him. Oh, but Adam hits the shot. Spoit having a rough go at it this game. Never really quite finding the impact. Gomez on for a second. The Ying down 2. This could be match point for OXG had Shopify not clutched that 2v4, but be careful. Let's not give Shopify another massive round and a 1vx to win off of. Surf's already got 1v4 and 2 1vx's, but the third will unfortunately be out of his graph. OXG again retake their lead. But things could be a whole lot dicier if that clutch doesn't go Shopify's way in round 8.
I think OXG just say thanks for the time out there. You gave us a bit of time to steady ourselves, slow things down ever so slightly, but still play this very lurking style of Siege. OXG consistently finding themselves in the right positions tonight, whether that be to deal with players that are on the attack or whether it is to deal with players when they were on the attack themselves and they're looking to root out defenders. You think about Gomez hopping into the top of rafters multiple times. Think about the couple of rounds that we've seen down here where Spoit has been an immediate target. Obviously, you can't entirely choose who you're going to go for. You just know that there's a player that's likely going to enter there, and it's likely going to be Spoit. And straight away, OXG have dialed straight in onto that and are consistently punishing Shopify. If they keep picking these opening kills up, it's just a numbers game. It really is just a matter of time. They've got a 1 round buffer right now. And go back up to this top floor. Again, a site yesterday that SR were able to win and were successful on, but we didn't see any glimmer of that success in round 7 here tonight. It was pretty much just a complete shutout. It looks as though we're having a bit of a role switcheroo, as it's going to be Ambi on the Deimos this time. So whether he's going to go underneath and try and perform a similar job as Spoit, but just with slightly different pathing, so it's maybe not as predictable. Time will tell, but I'm sure that OXG have a plan for it.
Yeah, that's the thing with the Deimos is Spoit might be switching roles with Ambi, but the Deimos is likely going to be down there still, just because those shotguns are too strong, and this is one of the main tools to deal with it. Ambi in quite quickly to this spot. You can see from a different direction. You were talking about maybe wanting to see different pathing. Spoit, I believe, came from like kitchen side, and Ambi instead coming from garage side. These things are, in fact, a little different. As Shopify.
I think Grix is still down there ready to deal with him, though, isn't he?
He might be, but hey, the pathing's different at least. And Ambi's not dead yet. Spoit was dead by this point in round 7. We'll take the little victories where we can get them.
That's a great drone.
Ooh, nobody spotted it.
A lot of information there for Surf. I don't think that anyone's ever going to spot that drone. It's one I'm going to steal for my rank games, I think. Thank you very much.
Ooh. Also, everyone on site at the moment, so Ambi's actually free and clear to just get the use the Deimos tracker down below.
I love that play from Forest. This is a brilliant way of just choking out any hope of a breach. Zoto canisters, the mirror window getting placed after the fact. The placement was perfect as well. That top Selma will go off eventually, but it'll be less than ideal to hop through, if you can hop through at all. It looks like it's going to be slightly on an angle. I'm sure there'll still just be enough space, but look at Spoit pushing up aggressively here inside a garage.
It'll just be to secure space. Not a full hit from Shopify yet. We also saw that air jab in the drone hole. Not the one Spoit just placed, but he's got one in pocket. Can often place one in the drone hole, so if anybody's playing close on the reinforcement behind that desk, give an advantageous fight once you actually push in. 1-for-1 trade, as Shopify don't have the entry they would like. Gomez considers giving Ambi the one he's looking for. Still no clear advantage as OXG just break away. Shopify breaking in, yet it's cost Spoit a lot of his HP. They've taken control of one of the sites, but the other defenders are just around the corner. A few precious seconds need to be burned by Surf to go recover that diffuser, but still got time. 30 seconds, but no flashes. Surf might be able to use that drone just to gain a little bit of remaining information. What a shot onto Adam. And another 1vx. This time, Yoga in the hot seat. One around the corner. Hits a lengthy pre-fire. Nice flick. Surf sticks it. He's got the time. And does he have the angle? Always can be tricky playing behind the bomb chassis. He knows the information. Can he land the shots? Will he get his third 1vx? Yes, he will! The man you can always count on fighting from behind. Surf is the one keeping Shopify in contention.
Keeping them afloat tonight. Another super close round. 2 versus 2 coming down into the 1v1. Yoga had all the information that he needed there. He knew where the plant was going down, saw the drone get sent over the top of the bomb chassis. And it's just a tricky engagement to win. It's a brilliant engagement range for an AR. It's less than ideal for an SMG. And with the way that Surf's been shooting tonight, I don't think there's anyone in the server that would want to be in that position that Yoga finds himself in.
Look at this.
Brilliant flick. And Yoga had the options. He could duck and dive, but it was always going to be a very tough ask. SR leveling it up. OXG recognizing how close it was and saying, you know what? We don't mind going back upstairs. If it comes down to a 1v1 and the plant has to go down, then so be it. They feel like they can do something better here. Make a small adaptation, make a little bit of a change.
Attacker's objective is to
They aren't going to be bringing the mirror window this time. Instead, they're going to be opting for a Valkyrie and a Melusi. The Tubarão also has gone. So the Melusi, just a great early warning system. Those Banshees, it's going to stop people from just being able to walk into the top of Aqua. And still place them in and around Catwalk as well. Obviously with the Valkyrie pick, it usually baits out that IQ. And that's going to be Ambi's role for round 11.
Going in.
We'll be able to find quite a lot with that IQ scanner. These mods, the black eye cameras, elite jammers. Obviously, one of those bits of information more important, and also likely the reason the IQ pick got out, as Ollie mentioned, the black eye cameras. Certainly glad to see Ambi bring it with the role that Intel could play and giving OXG just a little bit more of an edge in these gunfights, which they've already been very good at hanging in so far. I mean, it's a game of 5-5, and the worst bit of KD for OXG is forced at -2. Everyone on OXG has been hitting their shots, though some of the performances might be, again, like Shopify, a little streaky at times, it seems.
Detected a bomb.
They've been hitting them where it counts. Retrying second floor, their third attempt at a defense. Spoit taking the Deimos again, going back to that pathing where he died to Grixer. But he's got information and can track any one of these defenders, yet it's unfortunately Rexin that goes down first.
It's going to be quite difficult to recover from that point. Losing the Selmas, you do still have the Hibana pellets to rely on. Deimos can start to get a little bit of tracking work done. The B's at least going to stop people from pushing through. But again, we see a Deimos lose out on this vertical angle. Atom takes Spoit down. A 2-man advantage for OXG now. In a very important round, a round that guarantees points for whichever team wins it. And now there's nothing to root these players out from these positions. They've lost their vertical pressure. They've got 1 nade. They've got no Bs left. And you've got a couple of X-Kairos pellets. It's not like you've got a Kapkan or a Ying or something of that nature. Gomez just left to freely peek the breach. Forest the same. It's a killer piece for the remaining players alive on the side of OXG. And they put themselves onto map point.
If you take away all of Surf's 1vx's, by the way, the score is currently 9-2 for OXG. Just goes to show the impact that one player had, though obviously a little bit of an asterisk, also a Canadian 2v4 that turned into a Surf 1vx. So important to keep in mind. You can see OXG really, really careful, or really concerned about this next round. Second floor is the only site they have a completely winning record on. Basement did go their way in pretty dominant fashion in round 9. It will have just unlocked after round 11 just completed. And I imagine part of what they're discussing is where they go, because if you've been paying attention to the site rotation, OXG have only defended 2 bomb sites so far. Basement twice and second floor 3 times. There's a very interesting calculus. Do you go back to basement, which to be fair, Shopify I've seen a lot, but you've already gone to second floor 3 times. Would it be unheard of? Or do you try one of the ones you haven't defended yet and try to catch them off guard while also giving you a site that you have not tried yet? Ollie, I don't know necessarily where they'll come down on that decision. I'd have to imagine probably one of the tertiary sites will come out. The surprise factor is always really good, especially since you know the strat, even if you haven't played it this game so far. The other team doesn't. But I have to imagine part of that discussion in the timeout is where we are going to end up on round 12.
All set. Banshee deployed.
It's going to be storage. They are going to make their stand in a site they haven't defended as of yet. OXG recognizing the importance, taking that tactical timeout. They want to guarantee a full 3 points out of this fixture.
Activating jammer.
They don't want to leave anything up to chance. Goes into an OT, so be it, but they want to give themselves the best possible chance of ending this in regulation.
10 seconds to
And I can imagine that the content of that timeout links was exactly as you thought. It's got to have been on that side choice and just how they are going to try and deal with it.
Attackers' objective is to defuse
I'm
the
not
bomb.
worried yet, but I am seeing Forrest on the Mozzie.
Someone around here shows me some respect.
I will say that's an operator that has quietly crept up into our... I feel like you and I have an unofficial, like, question mark list, and I think Mozzie's up there. Not that, like, Mozzie's a bad pick.
It's very much on my official question mark list.
Okay, well, I suppose Ollie's a bit more hardline about it than I am.
No, it's always one that draws a little bit of attention, isn't it? We'll see how it's played. At least it brings a C4, and it brings a decent gun as well. And it gives a bit of a problem for Shopify to solve. They certainly do rely on their drones, and they use them very well, as you should. And anything that makes that a little bit more difficult, well, it's fine by me.
Establishing link.
Yeah, that is the thing. If Shopify start having problems with the Intel game,
Loading new mag.
certainly are going to be glad you brought that Mozzie and committed to the full Intel denial setup. Also, a lot of utility that Shopify generally have to cut through of all kinds. The Intel denial, the Banshees, and the Kiba barriers, barbed wire as well. Something you got to worry about.
Drone activated.
Nice little find on the drone. Forrest just swings around, Adam just swings around the corner. 15 and 5, by the way. Not something we've highlighted all that much, but standout performance from Adam. Playing on that roam alongside Forrest. Contesting the second floor. Oh, that's just a missed drone. You can't be letting happen at a point like this. Just hops in directly in front of Forrest. Canadian down 2. There is a big trade, but OXG just undeniably the winners of this roam game so far. The question now is whether or not they overplay their hand or if somebody from Shopify can cut them off. Rexon in a powerful position, but Yaga with an even bigger trade. And with no further opportunities to claw that back, it's Shopify in the disadvantage.
Spoit and Surf. They've been a hell of a duo throughout the course of this fixture. But they've got to do it again when it matters the most to drag their team into an OT right now. Atom 15 and 5, triple positive. Yoga 10 and 6. They're not going to give their positions away lightly. They still have 2 C4s as well to lean into. Finally, Spoit and Surf, buddy up. They start knocking on the door of the site just outside a warehouse in the corridor. But OXG aren't giving them an inch.
Adam creeping out with a secondary shotgun. Be careful. Don't start flirting with it. Don't start playing with fire. Lands the shots necessary and follows it up. 17 and 5, a monster performance from Adam. And OXG emerge a sleeper to begin the NAL, but now undeniably one of the best teams of Stage 2 so far.
I'm loving the improvement that we're seeing from these teams in Stage 2. It's fantastic. It's a shame that it happens to coincide with a bit of a fall-off of some of our better teams out of Stage 1. But if you've got a target on your back, you better believe that someone is going to work as hard as possible to try and take that out. And OXG definitely put the work in tonight. I can't wait to hear from them in our interview. I'm going to cut to a short break. After that, we'll be back with our desk.
Sanko, they went in balls. Balls.
Dead. One head, one head.
Let's fucking do it, baby! Come on! We actually won like every round of that. Come on!
Welcome back to the NAL. Both our analysts have had the wrong prediction because they both went for SR. So instead of like immediately hearing you guys come up with excuses as to why that's the case, let's bring in Adam from OXG so he can let us know how he feels about the fact that, first of all, you got disrespected by these two because they went for SR in their prediction. But also, can you just let us know what's been cooking behind the scenes for you individually to have these kind of pop-off games?
Mainly just playing off my teammates, especially when Brox is joining me. It's pretty much getting me in the building, like pretty much making plays with everyone on my team. That's pretty much it. Nothing really much to it.
So my question is, when you are going for those entries, let's say, at least in this matchup, it looked like there was a lot of moments where you guys were isolating a specific position, and then you would go in for the entry, obviously, alongside Gomez, utility. Was that something that you guys just get into the server and you're calling out who the most vulnerable player is to go for on attack? Or is it more of something that's predetermined? You guys did it in the VOD review. And then also, how do you feel confident in those moments going into the lines then, essentially?
Mainly, we just pretty much just figure out who to ISO. I mean, it's against SR. They kind of just give us free picks. I mean, I don't really know. It's like I haven't done an interview in so long, so I don't know what to say.
Give a fleshed out answer. Give yourself a second to think about it,
You
man.
can talk crazy if you want.
Nah. There's nothing to talk crazy about.
Well, I want to talk about the ideology. Huh?
No, I was just saying I just love those guys. There's no hate for them. I don't want to talk shit.
Well, I want to talk about the ideology shift of kind of what Oxygen has been looking like, because every single game, you guys seem to just be getting these opening kills, obviously off the backing of you, off the backing of Yaga, off the backing of Gomez. And with Force kind of alleviating himself from that shield play, not really adopting this meta, more focusing on more of a traditional support role, do you think that's also helping set you guys up for success, especially on those attacking rounds, and just taking pressure off of Force to have to like lead the charge, being on those shields? It gives him more time to kind of recoup and think, you know, the strategy towards the mid to late round?
Yeah, I don't know why people think that we need shields. Like, we can all just pick a gun, run around with our heads cut off. I mean, I don't know why. I don't even know where that even came up from. I mean, it's not really that hard just to like pick a gun and just run at people.
I think it more comes from the fact that we had seen, and again, I've been commiserating for us in terms of this change now since that SSG game, is we did see the shields try to be utilized last stage and a little bit going into this stage. And then since the swap off of shields, we have been seeing this drastic performance. So that's why I was curious if that's now like alleviated some sort of pressure off of Force to just help you guys as a team into those mid to late rounds where it takes that pressure off of them, like I said, from those shields.
Yeah, ever since we started like peeling back on shields more, like Brox, which has been getting Gomez and I into the building, being more of like the spirit of him and I, and pretty much just like, yeah, I don't know. It's just nice to have a new identity.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys are sitting in first right now, I believe, with 15 points after that. Obviously, that can change due to M80, but I mean, dude, you guys are looking phenomenal. And you in particular, I mean, you are sitting first place in the standings right now for the best player in the scene. So whatever you're doing, don't stop, to say the least.
Of course not. The job's not done until the end of the stage.
Right. Well, thank you for the interview. I'm going to be completely transparent. I can't hear anything, but I'm sure the answers were absolutely incredible. Congrats on another successful week here in the NAL. Looking forward to seeing you guys on the Super Week, and take care. All right. Either way, guys, OXG. So let's just dive into this, because you were both wrong with your predictions. You guys were very much going for SR, saying, you know, they have that consistency, they have the systems behind them. It is SR at the end of the day. So what went wrong for them?
First off,
Opening engagement.
Yeah, the opening engagements. I think that was definitely the biggest factor. This round one, was so well thought out, and it set the tone essentially for OXG, just getting the drones in, finding out where the player's going to be, and then executing all together. And that's something that's taken OXG to get a little bit of time to get comfortable doing. And obviously, since they picked up Adam, since they've had him on the team, he's been on that entry role. But I really love his play, but specifically seeing Gomez alongside him also picking up that mantle, and both them in unison has been phenomenal, especially like you said, Forest going off of the shield has now made them the main focus. It's allowed Forest to bring more utility to also impact that entry as well from the back line. And he can be a lot more hands-on with the calls. So obviously, I think OXG has a really good idea of what's going on, what they need to do. And since moving Kizzy to the head coach, I feel like that's also had a huge impact for OXG.
I mean, not even just in their attacking rounds, their defensive rounds. They were doing such a good job at playing with one another, moving the map into their favor, and then just doing the pinches that they were being able to pull off. Someone coming up from basement, being able to pinch one of the players from Shopify, not just catching them off guard, just constantly moving, never making Shopify feel comfortable on their attacks. I mean, I really have to give credit to Oxygen because throughout that game, sure, it was a 7-5, but like Link said, realistically, if Surf didn't have those big moments, those big clutches, Oxygen would have realistically closed it out in a 9-3 or obviously far sooner than that, maybe like a 7-2. So again, Oxygen with more and more time as they keep just pushing every single game, they are looking to be the best team in the region outside of M80, who still is continuing their undefeated streak. But again, for Oxygen, with the little amount of time they've had, now at the time that they are really showing the light through this roster, and like you were saying, Forrest being able to step back a little bit, take time off those shields, allow Gomez and Adam to be able to just explore the map, dive into that site, be those spearheads, is really, really showing in their stats. And again, those entry opening kill conversions, I mean, 10 out of 12 of those rounds went in the favor of Oxygen. So clearly, their attacks are changed significantly.
I mean, the whole entire team has changed significantly when we're looking at the performance that we have been getting from them in these last couple of play days, which is absolutely incredible to see. And it's really nice as well just for them to be able to beat a team like Shopify, because that is kind of like the team to beat at this point, or was the team to beat. Now it's more M80, but we'll get into that at some point. But those are our first 3 games of today. We still have 2 more best of ones to be played out here on the 3rd week of the NAL regular season. We have LFO against Wildcard and Cruelty against M80, which, if we're going back to stage 1, Foxay, that was like a banger of a matchup.
Yeah, I mean, Cruelty beat M80. That was the upset of all upsets. And, you know, Standby Wildcard, I think, will be maybe a little bit closer than we'd anticipate, but hopefully no more 7-0s. You know, I think
do you think
best
we got to fix
forward.
our predictions? I think we've been wrong all day.
I mean, do you think
okay.
like this is the world where LFO is able to get a couple of points?
Yeah.
We said that last stage, and that, you know, it was that super week where then Wildcard just absolutely dominated LFO and stopped them from making playoffs. So,
well, it's not super week yet because that's next week, and it is also not game number 4 yet because that's actually after the break, which is when we're going to be looking at Standby against Wildcard.